Hey everybody, Corey here. In this video, we're going to go over the single stock ETFs. We're just going to do the daily roundup in this video. If you want to see the trades and holdings, that's in a separate video where we go down and you can see all the strike prices and yeah, all the holdings and the trades more in depth. But anyway, just a reminder, I'm not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor. I'm just here to gather all the data and try to present it to you uh, in an easily, readable manner. And then from that, you can make your own decisions and opinions. YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky, and they are income ETFs, not growth ETFs. They come with a lot of risk, and they are, covered call ETFs. All the risk at the bottom are defined on their website. So we're going to jump right in, and I'm sure I've probably missed something. I don't know. I guess we'll see when we go through this, honest, because I'm not sure how much I've looked at the daily tab here. I just actually made it even today because last night I spent, even after spending 3 or 4 hours with Max working on his workbook, then right after that, I spent another 2 or so hours on my stuff, and I finally quit. I guess I could have recorded Ybit and Ulti last night, but believe it or not, the single stock ETFs is what was really messed up, which is not normal. It's usually, Ulti. Most of the time it's always Ulti, but this one, I got hung up at Amazon forever, even started hand jamming numbers and stuff. Or I say Amazon, but I meant AMZ, and then I finally quit. So, with that said, we will see what's here. And I'm sure I did not update the numbers at the bottom, so I can tell you that either. So I know on some of these, and I finally just decided I'm not going to try to go back and give you history. I'm going to tell you where stuff's jacked up, and we'll just leave it at that. I hope, and I'm sure you hope too. But now I didn't sort of forgot which one exactly is what. AMC stuff is messed up, but it's not. Well, it is in the trade, and it's not. And see, here's where I'd have to remember exactly what each thing was. Let me look real quick. So, okay. Yeah, so AMZ should have had a trade that closed out 172 shares of a short call that expired, and they did not have that trade on there. But it wasn't on the holdings. And then, and what it should have done, they should have paid to close that one out, and then they should have opened another one. They should have, sold another short call and got the premium in for that. And then another issue is that an item that was closed out in the trades is still on the holdings. Oh, hold on. Oh, never mind. I see what they did. I thought I made a note on this. Must have been another one that they did this exact same thing. They closed something out, but they used the wrong expiration date. So it couldn't match up. And so what it does is it just adds it. I haven't had these in a while. It adds it to the holdings. Okay, and then I'm looking, and then yeah, the other issues. So AMZ had a couple of issues. So their trades amount here and stuff aren't going to be exactly right, nor will the holdings data either. And then Google, we already had an issue with Google, and the issue continues. I say GUI, alphabet. This is the one where it looks like they may have purchased 40 new contracts, but they didn't show it on the trades. They just closed out 40 contracts of, the synthetic call put and short call. And then when they closed it, they ended up adding one, and they did that weird stuff yesterday. So now they did end up closing that one that showed up on the holdings. That was weird yesterday, but then um, they ended up closing out a short call with the wrong expiration date, so then it added it on there. Same thing with AMZ. So GUI stuff isn't going to be 100% right either. So I did not paste values either. I need to go back and do that, otherwise I will lose my data. Okay, so those two had issues. And then Crush wasn't an issue necessarily. It was just a bunch of stuff going on, and I rearranged. Actually, there was another one, but I think that was mainly on the trades, because there was one that they open and close stuff on the same day. I don't know. There was just a lot. So, this is may or may not be 100% correct. These are the few issues that I did catch, which then made me add in a data check on here. Also, another data check thing to in case I don't possibly catch stuff. It just still doesn't means I'll catch everything. But it's a lot going through the 20 ETFs in this one workbook and video, and then not and be able to catch every single error. But there's not always a lot of errors. So, but there's a lot going on this past week. But anyway, we'll get past this. I'm sure you're here talking to me, listen to me talk this second, and if you've been on the screen actually watching, you already see all the dollar amounts here. So since I just talked your ear off, I won't bother just giving you these dollar amounts. If you're not finished looking, you can click pause, but I'm going to move on. And I'll say down here at the bottom, these data check errors for block, that's where they ended up. I'm guessing they got assigned for 100 contracts because they purchased some of the stock. And then of Crush, that's the long call. All right, so if we move over, you can see all the net assets and the outstanding shares. So if you want to take a minute to pause the video or screenshot this. And then here you can see all the stock prices with the NAV and then the differences. And I'm going to, again, you could pause or screenshot, and then we'll move on to the actual stock prices. So looking here at the underlying, I don't know, for the single stock ones, I usually would at least read the changes, and I don't ever know if that's really what you want to do or not. I know there's oh, well, most people are listening and not watching, but if I sat here and read, everything on all my workbooks because I think you're listening and not watching, these videos would be an hour or too long. That's why I don't read everything. I almost feel like you have to watch my videos to get the most out of it in the least amount of time. So, I don't know. Y'all let me know. But yeah, I did for the longest here. I would, read through. Then it was, well, if it was more than 10 cents, I would read it. The problem is this isn't one ETF. These are 20 ETFs. So I feel bad, just doing the highlights because, well, might not care about the highlights. You may only care about one specific, ETF. And if I skip over some, then you don't know about that one. So I don't know. I always go back and forth on these. And then we get new audience, right? We get new people coming in, so everybody has different opinions with changing. But right now, I'm just going to go over maybe the highest performing and lowest performing. And y'all can let me know your opinions in the comments. But it looks like Coney was down 5% today, which was 99 cents. Misty was down 5%, which is $1.64. And I say today. This was actually 2 days ago because it's already Sunday at 1 a.m. So Friday, again, apologize for the late ones. And then we had down 4% was Murny with 85 cents. And then we also had Ulti at the bottom. It was down 4% also. In fact, I can sort these up here. It won't sort with the bottom. And then OARC was down 3%, Tesla and PayPay 2%. Nobody was up more than 1%. I will tell you the ones that were green was Phoebe, Zomo, JPMO, Crash, I'm sorry, MSFO, NVIDIA, AMDY, and Nephle were the same prices. And if I didn't mention them, they were negative, but maybe not too negative. But anyway, so let's move over to, we're going to look at the underlying. I'll put them back in order. This is the IV and an estimate based on the IV distribution. If you want to see those, obviously they haven't all loaded from the website, so I apologize for that. But then we have the stock prices here for Thursday's close price versus Friday's close price. So if you want to, pause this or screenshot and look at it, go ahead and do so, because I'm going to hide this so we can move on. All right, and then so looking here at what we did, and let's do this because I try to do them in order. But so MicroStrategy was down the most, 7%, then Coin with 5%, Moderna negative 4%, ARC and Block negative 3%. And then again, the only ones we had green here were Meta, Microsoft, JPM, and NVIDIA, and the rest of them there are just in between negative, 0 to 1%. Now I remember why I didn't filter these, because once I do that, because I have Crush in there, I guess what I need to do, damn, I'm sorry y'all, I say Crush because that's what I think of when I look at it. But Crash, I'll have to get used to it. Once I filter these, Crash is getting filtered in with them. So I need to take it out because I'm trying to keep those at the bottom. Of course, I had a bunch of red stuff and I don't think I fixed them because I couldn't remember, or I didn't take the time to go back and look to see why I made them red. But anyway, as far as major differences, there's really not a lot. We have, there was a difference of 1%. Let me scroll or zoom in a little bit here. 1% between AMZ and Amazon. AMZ did better. GUI did better by 1%. Misty did better by 1%. And PayPay and Squee did better by 1%. Everybody is 0. Of course, we know, these are rounded numbers, but looking at the whole numbers there, that's what we have. All right. And then one thing I didn't do down here, well, one, I forgot. So we only had 5. Let's look at the bottom. So the S&P was up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ 100 was up 0.26%. So even those were green, slightly green, but only 5 of the underlying outbeat the ETFs, which means we had 14, because that's not including Crash. We had, if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 5. We had 14 of the YieldMax ETFs that did better than the underlying. So to point that out, and yeah, what's the stock price looking, or the indexes to look to see where we were. And man, I didn't add it on this tab, so I must have added it on the main one, but I'd already copied it, I guess, at the time. All right, so JPMO and MSFO daily. So JPMO and MSFO. Okay, so we have newly recovered distributions here. And so to use this, one of these as an example, we'll look at JPMO here. So JPMO, closing price was $19.82 on May 3rd, which was the declaration date. So, and it was a Friday. So that's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So May 6th would have been, the next day would have been the dividend drop, right? So this is right before, or before it dropped for the distribution amount. And then, of course, Friday's close price was 1987. Oh, that 6 was just last Monday. Anyway, sorry. It just dawned on me. So the difference between those prices is 5% plus 5%. So we are 5% more than we were before the distribution drop. And the last dividend here was 42-cent payout. And so the difference between, I don't know, look here. Yeah. So it's just adding those together. And in this case, it means it's paid out, or not paid out, it's the plus or minus since the last dividend. I can't even talk now. So what has happened is that it has recovered the amount of the dividend plus an additional 5 cents. So obviously rounded, the dividends aren't, but these columns are rounded, which is 47 cents. So it's recovered 100% of the distribution plus 12%. Okay, so 112% of the last distribution. So when I say and 12% was of the last distribution. And it took 5 days, so Monday through Friday, to recover that. And then the same thing with MSFO. It just so happens it's the exact amount. When I say exact, obviously the exact rounded amount, 50, it was 21.50 to 21.50. So exactly 57 cents there. So it has recovered 100% of the last dividend. And so both of these recovered within 5 days. So I just ranked them both number one because they recovered on the same day. So just to look at one of these as an example, Dizzo up here, it had bad earnings and it dropped. So it closed on May 3rd at 20.66. The distribution, the ex-dividend date was Monday, so that was the day it dropped. And then as of Friday, we were at 18.83. But again, that's because they reported and they dropped significantly. So the difference is we're down $1.83. And the distribution itself was 70 cents. So not only we are down the amount of the distribution, but we're also down an additional $1.12. Therefore making it that we are down 159% of the distribution amount. So obviously it hasn't recovered anything. These that are all green in this column have recovered some, if not all. And then, just in case you're new, down here on the bottom with YMAG, it did recover. Now these are different dates, so this would have been, April 16th. So it did recover. Of course, it's gone down back up underneath it since, but I don't change it. Of course, this is also new. We've only been doing this a few weeks, maybe a month now. But yeah, I haven't been changing these. If it goes back down, it goes back down. And then I did a whole video finally, I think, last Thursday when I was sitting at my daughter's dentist appointment, that shows all of these all the way back to inception, for every ETF on how they've performed, how they've recovered their dividend each month with averages and other things, if you want to check that out. But this was inspired. Was inspired to do that based off of doing this, just for me to go back and just curious on how all that looked. But anyway, we'll move on. And then see, that's where I made stuff red last week, and then I didn't go back. I forgot to go back, even though I saw it earlier, to try to remember why it was that I made those red. But anyway, this section, again, in case you're new, this is based on the short positions. I need to make crash a different color or something. So, well, I guess if I take it out of filtering, then I won't have to worry about it going to the top. But it's It's irritating me. Hold on. There we go. All right. So obviously at the top, with the exception of crash down there, those are all the short calls. In the bottom, the crash is a short put. But this is the max price, right? So which then should I make the other? I don't know. I'm not even going to mess with crash right now. But if it has, for example, Coney has 5 strike prices. Sorry, 5 strike. I'm trying to, I guess, scroll down and I can't. It has 5 different strike prices there. The maximum strike price out of all of those is 195. So, I mean, but it could have, and it could only have 5 contracts at 195, okay? It could have most of them at 195. But you wouldn't know unless you watch the holds and tradings video. I can't even talk now. Holdings and trades video where we go into the depths. But if you don't want to go in depths, here's this just to give you a bit of an idea. And this is just showing that the stock price is $7.52 below this strike price, or it's below it by 4%. Therefore, just, I don't even know, the stock price is what, roughly somewhere around $188. To just give an example there. Again, though, you don't know. It could have also, and I don't know if we can have a good example of that looking over here, but it could have strike prices in there that are going negative and could have more contracts. So, you know, take it with what it is and the face value here, but again, there could be a lot more to look into looking at the trades and holdings. I'm going to just filter this to see the worst one, and we'll use it as an example for those that are new. Excuse me. But Misty here has, 3 short calls with the max strike price being $13.65, and that one is 14%, or the stock price is 14% under the strike price. But overall, these are bringing the stock price down 52, the Misty stock price down 52 cents a share. So this over here on the right in the blue columns are to show you how this is affecting the share price. And then, so one's the dollar amount, the other one is the percentage. So in this case, it's the 52 cents is bringing the stock price down, or a 1.8%. And then, of course, we can sort this by percentage because that could be different. So then, yeah, you see Coney's short calls are bringing the stock price down $1.60. Obviously, these aren't bad right now because they're all under it because the market's been going down. But we've seen these bigger. But anyway, just to go over that, let's move over here. So we have, that's funny, we have these short calls. Yeah, so this is showing up actually as 2 different short calls because they're using 0.02 and one doesn't have a point, but all the rest of them on the other ones use 0.01. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm going to go back to the daily, and I'm going to mark that too. Hopefully I get to it by the next video. Hey, but this one actually has 2, so I guess, I don't know. I'm going to make it red, but I don't think there's going to be anything I can do about that, but I'll try to remember to look at it there. In this case, these are obviously going to be the same. So I should have just looked at that and deleted it. The problem is if it thinks there's like 4, then it's still only showing us 1 here. Because you can see if you look at Tesla, we actually have 2 up there, a 175 strike price and a 180. So this is going to be the same thing as like the shorts, but these are going to be the synthetics. So like Misty in the case here, actually I should have done it by percentage. So we'll use Coney. Coney's stock price is, the strike price for the synthetic is $260, and we're below, the stock price is below that synthetic strike price by $59.09. So Coney stock price is $200. So it's below at that dollar amount and 23%. And so I got a question on, a question that was asked to me, and hopefully I answered it good, by text. But it was asked something like, does that mean when they close the synthetic that the stock will drop by that estimated dollar amount? As you can see here, right now this is saying the synthetic value is -$6. And no, that's not what's going to happen when they sell the price. That's what's already happened. So this, in this column, that -$6 is saying that the share price of Coney has already been reduced by $6.02 due to the synthetic position. So I wish now I would had that pulled up. Of course, now I'm like, I don't even know what app I'm supposed to go into to find that question. Okay. I actually did find it, believe it or not. I got a huge long post. And the reason I wanted to look at it because I have dates and amounts on it. And then, of course, I just touched something here and it went away. Okay, notifications, click here, click here. Okay. So I went back and checked the last time that the Coney stock price was at $260. Now, this is just me looking at close, looking on the chart, and then going to the date that it was above, at close. But the last time that I saw that it was above $260 was April 11th. On April 11th, Coney stock price was at $27. And then, as of close Friday, Coney was $20.68. So between then and now, the Coney stock price has actually dropped over $6. And then what this is showing is the stock price based on the current synthetic value, market value, that the stock price is down $6.02 because of this. So that pretty much lines up, with here looking. Of course, it could have earned money from the synthetics and whatever. I mean, from the short calls, or if it had multiple synthetics, which I don't think this one has, this go around anyway. But that question was asked and answered on the daily roundup. So the last roundup I did for Thursday, May 9th. But I just wanted to answer that in case anybody else had that question, and because I had looked up the actual dates and just gave an example there. So, but anyway, and then in the this AZ column over here, this is also showing the percentage that goes with that. So let me put this back in alphabetical order, because just in case y'all want to look for a specific one, you can look down through here, or you can take your screenshot. I am going to try to scroll over here so you can see all of this in one screenshot. Let me just back out just a little bit so you can see it now all on the same screen. So hopefully you can still see it like this on your phones. I always try to make sure to take that into account, so I can zoom in as much as possible. But y'all just let me know if y'all have issues. I know we've been doing okay. I just want to continue to be okay. But anyway, that gives you that. Now, if I come over here, which I think is going to be Coney, right? Yeah. Coney was the $6 one, which is also negative 29% of the share price. Down here, JPMO is actually above it. It's doing the best, I guess. It's up 48 cents a share, 2.4%. But anyway, and then this was actually, yeah, me putting in some data checks, which doesn't catch all of them, but it is going to catch any that where the synthetic and the shorts do not match, because that was another issue I was having today. The only way I was catching them if I was examining each trade with each holding and checking them and then adding numbers and stuff. So I decided to build a data check in there just to be able to do that. But anyway, I'm sorry for the long video. I know we talked about all the issues here with some of the trades, and then we had to explain some things because I know we have new people and it might have taken me longer than normal to explain. And then then going through Coney and that thing there. So sorry for, I'm sure, what was a longer than normal video. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will talk with y'all later. Thanks. Bye.